We've all heard the theories that when the moon is full up there in the sky, a full moon, the crazies come out. All sorts of weird things happen. Dog bites increase, psychotic happenings increase, trips to the emergency room are at a much higher rate. Well, I did some research before I spoke to you on this today, and I found out that it's actually not true. People don't actually act more crazy on full moon. It's just perception. They're looking for things to happen, and they attribute normally weird things as being because of a full moon. But I can tell you that people who work during the night and sleep during the day do actually have changes in their behavior. How can I tell you that? Well, as I may have mentioned, 6 months ago, I was married to my wife, Katie, and she works as a night nurse. She works at Kansas Medical Center in the cardiac thoracic ICU. I'm not going to talk to you today about the crazy things that happen during the full moon, but I will talk to you about how quickly your perception on the way a day is structured and the way things can happen in your life and your perception on those things can be altered just by living with someone who works a different schedule than you. And it's amazing these differences have only happened in 6 months, but I've kind of made a note of about 5 different things that have really changed in my perception of how my daily life structure happens. The first of those things is that each hour of the day is equally useful. What does that mean? Well, I generally only see about 16 hours of the day. Time from about 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. doesn't exist in my world. I know it exists, but I haven't seen them, at least for quite a while, probably since college. For me, I live a very structured life. I go to bed around the same time and I wake up at the same time. For Katie, on the other hand, 7 a.m. could mean it's time to get off work. And the very next day it can mean it's time to wake up. Now, that's really made me appreciate the structure that I have, but it's also made me appreciate that there's really no wrong time to do anything. I wake up many times in the night looking around saying, where's Katie at? All I have to do is walk out into the living room and she's out there watching a television show at 3 in the morning. At first, I just laughed and went back to bed, and now I just join her on the couch. So, my structure in the day, I'm learning to change it a little bit and appreciate every hour of the day. The second thing that I've learned is that sleep is really, really important. I generally don't have much problem sleeping, and I get my normal sleep schedule, and I don't take naps. But I have learned that just a normal trip to the grocery store, a 10-minute drive, is a perfect time to take a nap. I know that if I'm going more than 10 miles and I'm driving and Katie's in the passenger seat, then I might as well turn the radio out because I'm going to be talking to myself. So I can just assure you that don't take for granted the fact that you may get a full night's sleep. And if you don't, I feel sorry for you. The third thing I've learned from working with someone who works the night shift at a hospital is that your minor ailments are not worthy of sympathy. When I wake up in the morning with a sore throat, I might as well not complain about it because I am not going to hear any kind of sympathy. When your wife works at a hospital where people every day are having heart attacks and they're dealing with lung problems, my flu and the fact that I just don't feel that good isn't worth even mentioning. And on that same note, the fourth thing I've learned is that don't take for granted the fact that you're healthy. There's a lot of people out there who wake up and they think they're fine, and by the end of the day they're dealing with a major health issue, and it can happen at any time in your life. I hear stories of people who just don't see it coming at all, and their families are just completely heartbroken by it. So I try to remind myself, and I am reminded constantly, that our health is something not to take for granted. And lastly, I've learned that it's very important to take time and to be grateful for the moments that you have with the ones you love, because a lot of times I'll come home from work and I only have a little bit of time before Katie goes off to work, and sometimes we only see each other for a few short minutes. but we've learned to take for granted the time that we do have together. So, there are some funny things that happen when you live with someone who works with a night shift, and there's also things that remind you that you're blessed, and you have to remind yourself of that constantly. So, it's amazing that in 6 months, such a short time, that you can learn so many things from living with a nocturnal nurse.